All right, what is up, everybody? We got to kind of do this, I would say, just a little tad quickly, but real quick before I bring Nestor on. Next week at 7 o'clock Tuesday, we will have Lenny Rudow on from Fish Talk Magazine on with us. We've had him on before, talking stripers and blue cats and all that stuff, but he's going to come on. We're going to talk a little bit more about Lenny. But today, let's get Nestor on here because Nestor, there we go. There's Nestor. What's up, buddy?
Hello, Sam. How are you?
I'm great, man. I appreciate you coming on. We're boring. The wife's just sitting over here watching TV. We're boring people. We're just
look. I'm watching Nestor Cortez pitch. You know I love you. I mean, nasty, the real nasty Nestor, not the fake Nestor. The real nasty Nestor's pitching. He just gave up a run, but it's good to be on. I don't know anything about fish other than I like the way they taste. I mean, I wrote out online that I would bring the beurre blanc sauce and some capers. Makes me in the mood for some rockfish, maybe pan fried. You and I, a little fresh ground pepper on that, ice cold beer. What do you think? Maybe Chardonnay. You think I'm uptown?
We usually have enough crab meat here that I will not put a rockfish in here. Yankees and Orioles.
You top it. You top it with the crab meat.
It's basically just stop, and then you just broil it. Once you put the rockfish in there, you make a nice crab cake on top of it, and you broil it on top. Nice.
So you're just doing an imperial, basically, maybe a little less than an imperial, just a lump meat.
I don't mind a little bit more mayonnaise, but the old lady, the mayonnaise thing. She does put it in a crab cake, but she's
got the best crab imperial in the world is Costas, and I go down there, you get a crab cake or whatever, but those are the main menu items, but they put the crab imperial on the mushroom caps and they broil that. That's my jam. So crab stuffed mushroom cap, that's like, when it's done right, it's maybe my favorite thing to get in the world to eat, really.
Well, what I have in the link pinned to the front of it and in the chat is actually Nestor's new documentary. The documentary that he did on his, basically.
Have you watched it yet?
Of course I watched it. That's why
I didn't know if you. Look, it's long. It's a hell of a commitment. 36 minutes and 36 seconds with me. It's a lot of time with me.
Well, the thing is that I kind of was glancing at it, but I drive about an hour in the morning, so I stuck it on. And I listened to it through the whole, so I actually got to listen.
Yeah, but you got to watch it. You didn't watch it?
I watched
it. It's not meant for listening to. It's meant to be watched.
I know, but me and the old lady were watching it the other day. We didn't get all the way through. We almost got to the end of it. But we pretty much watched about 3/4 of it while we were sitting in here.
It's got a happy ending. I'm still alive and on your show.
Yeah, so it's funny because I haven't seen Dennis in a while. So I actually texted him yesterday. I'm like, dude, are you okay?
He went fishing with Penrod the other day. He did the show today.
That's what he said. He goes, oh, I did it today, but here, let me show you how happy I am. And he showed me his new boat.
He went fishing, went really fishing on Sunday. So, and for people who fish, nothing makes them happier. That my aunt Clara, my late aunt Clara, my mom, who you knew, her sister, was a fisherwoman. And all of her kids fished, and they had a pond. They lived in Newark, Delaware, and they fished in this pond, and they caught these little sunfish, little, yeah. Man, you put them on the grill with some salt and pepper, perfect. I mean, some bony a little bit when I was a kid or whatever, but my Aunt Clara bought me a fishing rod, a bobber, a weight. And look, dude, you knew me from – tell everybody how we know each other because, there are very few people in the world that I've known longer than I've known you, Sam, really.
Well, hey, we grew up in this little fantastic neighborhood. All the kids, I mean, it's nothing like it used to be, obviously, but back then, I mean, summertime was the best. Now, I do remember you back then. You were a little bit more shorter. You grew, and you were a little bit more chubbier. When
I tell people that I was terrorized and called meatball as a child, right? And I was called the Pillsbury Doughboy. I can give you all of the insults. I'm missing a finger. So I would always torture you guys by doing this with my nose, doing that. But yeah, but so you had a father that was a stepfather, Roland, correct?
Yep.
And there were 3 of you Tudor boys, and you beat up off Arth. Dustin came in and said you guys used to beat him up for Zanino's money, or Zanino's, which the Zanino's family always hated. We call him Zanino. But you guys moved to the neighborhood 74 4, 5, 6? What year? You weren't there when I was really little, but you moved in like sometime between 74 and 77.
No, it was older than that because I think no, my dad came in when I was about 5. So we were about 5 years old. So I know
That's 73.
Yeah. So we lived, my father grew up in Eastwood. So he grew up.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's from Eastwood. His grandparents, my grandparents and everything, Glenny, Bathgate, and all that stuff from over there. They rented a house on 53rd Street coming down the hill across the street from where we live. We actually rented that house when we first moved in. And then my dad worked at Martin Marietta and he worked at Kmart part-time. My mom.
I think I remember your dad working there. Yeah, I mean, that's a neighborhood place for all of us. We bought all of our sports gear. I get that cold cut and the blue light special at Kmart. Put that on layaway. That's what you have to do, right?
That's funny about that. But, because
every fishing rod in your house came from that Kmart when you were a kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there you go.
Right now, we don't want to touch anything that comes out of Back River, but we were always fishing down there right by the bridge, pulling out eels and catfish right there. But now it's pretty.
Yeah, you were one of the fisher guys. I mean, some of the kids in the neighborhood fished. Almost everybody played baseball. I remember you were left-handed, right?
Yep. Well,
you were a pitcher. You were filthy, man. I don't want to mess with you. You don't mess with left-handed pitchers when you play Little League. We don't want to play Sam. He's left-handed.
Well, but it was fun because summertime. It's just like the Sandlot. It was just like the Sandlot. Summertime.
We played ball. That's all we did. We played ball.
Everybody was knocking on everybody's door, and we'd be up the park.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We all played baseball, right? Some people played basketball. Nobody played soccer. Nobody played lacrosse. Yeah. Everybody played a little bit of basketball, but it was a baseball neighborhood and a football neighborhood primarily. I played tennis, but nobody else played tennis. Some people played some roller hockey, but we all went skating at the skating rink. We all went to skate land. We all liked girls, and we played spin the bottle and chase the girl. And the summer camps, like to your point, were the best because the summers up at the school, every day was planned. We would go to Rocky Point. We had Oriole trips on the school buses. We made snowballs. We had real Little League. We had my dad was a Little League coach. So I loved our childhood. I feel the same way you do. I mean, Colgate forever for all the Colgate people that stick together, Yeah,
it was pretty fun times. But one thing I didn't know, when I'm listening to your story, my daughter, I was 17, and to realize that you were 15, well, probably 16 when your kid was born. For you to go, to be, doing what you're doing, going in, being a reporter. I mean, it's not the easiest thing. And then being a single father, I
don't know. I don't know how to respond to any of it because I've gone back and put it all together. And, Greg Landry, I want to give a shout out to Greg and to the narrators for the piece because the whole thing kind of came together organically that so many times I find myself in situations in life, I'm 55 now, where somebody will know me. And especially, I'm trying to redevelop my business as Baltimore Positive. We have an app coming out later. We're doing a new website in 2 weeks. I was all day long working on the new website today, in addition to doing the Orioles and Yankees and the Ravens draft. And, I had Tharu Vignaraj on this week, and I did a huge thing on horse racing this week because so much is changing, different than it used to be in so many ways. And the Derby's going on this week. By the way, the Derby favorite is Fierceness. And, so I like anything that has a ness as a suffix. But so Greg Landry hit me last year, and he videoed my wedding. He's a guy I've known 30 years. His wife's father was Harvey Myers, who owned the Emerald Tavern in the 90s, one of my first sponsors. He's the guy that put the satellite dish on my house on Bank Street when I was a kid. Harvey Myers, his father-in-law just passed away in December. So I've known Greg forever. Greg hit me last year. He's like, hey, man, a lot of people, and he's a video guy. Right? He's always done commercials, short films. He does a thing called Towson Transfers, which is interesting. If you have old VHS tapes, like let's say you got married 25 years ago, your wedding's on a VHS tape, right? It just is, right? Like that's the way they gave it to you. If you want to digitize that, pictures, anything, he does that work. Towson Transfers. He's a good man, Greg Landry. So, and not the quarterback Greg Landry, different Greg Landry, 2 G's for the old Colts people. But so Greg hits me and he's like, do you know anybody that might want a documentary done or whatever? And I'm like, are you fishing me? Because I don't have time to do it, but it's something I'd love to do because I have all these pictures and this, and I'd love to tell my story. And then I found myself with this Ravens garbage that's going on with Chad Steele, and I had no idea Peter was going to die, sell the team. I didn't have, I had as much heads up on that as anybody else. There was no track on that. There was like, hey, team's being sold, Peter's dead, John's gone, Rubenstein owns the team, apply for your press pass. I am under review at the Orioles. I have no idea where I am with the Ravens, although they've poisoned my name now through the NFL, right? So this is the part that pisses me off. And so when all this happened and I'm doing Baltimore Positive, I now have sales calls. I have networking events. I go out. And some people know me as, you knew my father, my mother, we grew up together, so you know most of my story, but you probably learned things in the documentary where you tuned out, wasn't into this, we weren't connected on Facebook, whatever, right? So
the last time that I seen you, tell you the honest truth, going through that, what reminded me of the barn, the last time me and you actually seen each other in person was at I actually had the wife with me, was at the barn. We seen you and said hi to you.
Who was there that night? Who was the player?
Well, right here.
Everybody remembers when they come and meet a player.
Right here. That's a sign.
Look at that.
Rod Woodson right there.
Oh, you came the night Rob was there.
I was there when Ray was there. I went to a lot of them, like Eric Green and them there was there.
Thank you, man. Eric Green was a good guy too. Yeah.
Ray Lewis was there. I had him. Now I gave his ticket away because of a young man, very young man. He was only like 5-6 years old, but he did something really nice. So I gave him that ticket, with Ray Lewis's signature on it. It was the very first ticket at the new stadium.
Oh, wow.
And so I gave it to him as a present.
I hope he still has it.
He does.
Nice.
He does. He has it. So that's kind of, I never really went and got autographs and stuff. So even though, being a grown man and everything, I almost felt like a little kid.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, we didn't have a team. Our team left us when we were kids, right? I mean, we lost the Colts. So having the Ravens back was a miracle. That's the thing that Chad Steele doesn't understand. And they have people that work out there that are too far gone and they're too country club and they don't know their roots and they don't know where they're from. And I've had to go out and defend myself the last 2 years, Sam. Why did they throw me out and they let my Caucasian employee in? Ask them, don't ask me. But let's talk about my credibility. Let's talk about my background, that you're familiar with me working at the paper because we knew each other at the time. We grew up in the same neighborhood. Some people have known me that long. Other people came in because my wife got sick. Some people came in because of Free the Bird. Some people came in as radio listeners and left. Some people voted for Donald Trump. Some people voted for Hillary Clinton. Some people watched the city catch on fire. Some people left baseball because the Orioles sucked. Some people left the Ravens because of the Wembley knee. Some people moved to Florida and stopped buying tickets. Some people died, unfortunately, right? And so through all of these years, I've kept all these people, rock and roll people. Hammerjack's documentary came out 2 years ago. I was very inspired by that because a guy named Steve Naranjis reached to me and said, I'm doing this documentary. Do you want to tell Hammerjack stories? I'm like, I'd love to, because I was there for everything. I literally sat backstage on the couch next to Mickey Coachella and we told these stories. So when this documentary thing last year, what's that?
I got a funny story for you.
Well, Mickey?
Yeah.
Tell it now. I love Mickey stories.
Okay, so I met Mickey. Me and the wife met Mickey. I used to sell, because obviously I left school early. I used to sell rainbow vacuum cleaners.
Oh, wow. My mom had a rainbow vacuum cleaner.
And so did he.
It sucked that ish up, man. It's right up, man.
But me and the wife and then when we kind of like broke up for a little bit, and she actually went out on a date with Mickey.
I hope it went well. I hope Mickey was a gentleman and don't say nothing else. That's all I'm going to say.
No,
Mickey's one of the narrators of the movie. So the documentary thing happened. I did this Hammerjacks thing. There's a beautiful documentary on Costas that Vice TV did back in January. It's 12 minutes long, and it begins with Mr. Costas saying that he came to this country with $5 in his pocket from Greece, and he built Costas. And I'm like, man, I've eaten a million crabs in there. I've known him my whole life. He buys me wine every time I'm in there and tries to give me beer and get me drunk, and I can't because I'm driving home. And I didn't know his story. And I thought, how many people don't know my story? And then I realized, like, earlier in the year, I was doing some stuff like in some sales calls on Zoom and whatnot, and really just seeing people's eyes glaze over when they say to me, oh, so I hear You do radio. No. You own a radio station. Well, you sell it to. Hold on. You have a web. What is Baltimore Positive? What is Nasty Nestor? Like what who is Luke? And what is do you do? Why did the Ravens story? So I get all this right, and I'm like, how do I answer this? So last summer, Greg hits me and starts talking about doing documentaries, and I'm like, are you asking me? Because I really don't like have time, but I'm flattered. But maybe one day. And then in January, like the light went on when I was here during Super Bowl week and I saw the Costas piece and I had done the Hammerjacks piece. And I thought, I'm never going to write a book. I don't think, I mean, maybe I would write a memoir or something funny that people would want to read that would be storytelling, but not to tell my story, right? I wouldn't want to write a book about, I was born in Dundalk, here are my parents, here were their inequities and issues. And I didn't want to write that kind of book.
Because they were, you know, when you look at you, you were really young, but they were older. And so that kind of
everybody thought they were my grandparents.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. So listening to the story, you know, knowing, you know, and I'm gonna let, like I said, if you go to the top of the chat, the link's there. So if you want to go see the story, go see the documentary. It is.
Don't do it right now because Sam and I are BSing. Stay here.
Yeah. So I mean, getting out and getting to meet all because you were a music critic. You know, and I love my music, man.
See, a lot of people don't know any of that about my life. I don't even think, like, honest to God, I don't think my sister-in-law knows. I don't think my daughter-in-law really knows, my son's wife. Like, she may know that I did a New Kids on the Block thing or we laughed or giggled one day, but there's stuff in there that I put in there that a lot of people that think they know me well or have known me a long time or know me in whatever way they know me would learn something. So, like, when Greg hit me I hit Greg back and I'm like, let's start this. It started as a 6-minute piece and it turned into a 30-minute piece because it was just sort of like, he's like, who's going to be the narrator? And I'm like, you. He's like, I'm not doing it. You got celebrity friends. So next thing you know, Mickey, Mike Brohart, John Allen, who's Eastwood, like your old man, and never to be confused with Colgate. We were special over there. But old friends, you know, participated. And I'm just, it's been a crazy couple of days because people have watched it and they're all responding to me in a different way. So it's been beautiful. It really has been.
Yeah. I mean, so with the new ownership of the Orioles, I mean, do you think you'll be able to get back in there and actually, because, you know, there's a couple of things I wanted to ask you because we don't, for a guy, guy sitting there and seeing it on the outside, you actually get to go into a locker room after, the big giant win. You get to go into a locker room after the big loss. And there's one that sticks out to me, and that was Ravens, Patriots, AFC Championship game. Flacco leads them down.
I remember that well, dude. That I had 15 buses pointed to Indianapolis. I had 500 Super Bowl tickets. It was a devastating loss for me financially, for my business. My wife was about to get cancer. Yeah, so it was I'm not a gambler. I don't bet on football, but that was a day where, like, it was a game change. It was a life-changing day for us to lose that game for me, for my business.
I mean, but in all the years you've been doing it, when you have to go into the locker room and you got to ask Cundiff or you got to ask Lee Evans these questions,
I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that.
I mean, can you explain to somebody? I mean, how do you do that? Or you have to take like a deep breath before you literally got to kind of, I wouldn't say get the third degree to the guy, but
I don't think there's a third degree. You just ask what happened on the play. I mean, I remember Lee Evans was in the corner of the locker room. And it's funny because the same corner is where Ray Rice and Michael Phelps were a year later talking about how they were going to get together back in Baltimore in 3 hours when they got there. You know what I mean? Like it was, where are we going to party tonight? And that was the same literal corner of the visiting locker room, which is not a very attractive place. Everybody thought that locker room was mic'd up, that Belichick had it rigged and whatnot. Right. But I remember holding the AFC Championship trophy in that room the next year. I remember Ray Lewis specifically that game, talking to him and being, right in front of him. And you can go watch the video of this. And he said, go out and do something good for somebody in the world. Go out tomorrow. We lost. It sucks, but go out tomorrow and do something good for somebody in the world. I
Here's a
thought,
question for you. You guys
no,
excited about
that's
the
a
Ravens?
message, right?
You guys are excited about are you guys excited about the Ravens draft class, Isaiah?
Oh, you're getting questions in here. Hi, Del Marvin Fishing. How are you? I'm sorry. I don't do that on my show, so I'm not used to looking at the screen. I'm distracted enough, man,
Yes.
I am heartened by the fact that they took the cornerback in the first round. They didn't feel compelled to go for need on the offensive line. I always feel like Eric has, and again, I was very close with Eric for a long time. Eric's a coward, and I'll say that to his face. I tried to say it to his face, and he ran from me. But I've known Eric for 30 years. I respect Eric's ability to pick football players. I also respect the fact that the organization doesn't wholesale replace scouts and wholesale replace people, that they can make long-term decisions. So when they make a decision, it's not about what's going to make me look good right away because I need to keep my job. It's what's going to make the organization stronger in the long term. And I have no doubt that they could have traded out of that 30 pick, and they scrimmage this, Sam. They sit out there for 2 weeks and scrimmage every possibility and say, if we're on the 30 and these are the guys that are here, we're going to pick. If they're not, we're going to look the deal. Wiggins was a guy they liked. They have this down to a science. They really do. And they have a need at the corner position. I don't know if they really believe in Marlon Humphrey. I think certainly depth there. You always need 4 or 5 corners. I think it's a good pick for them. And I think, and Luke talked about this, and Luke is the smartest guy I know about football, which is probably why they let him in the locker room. But Luke talked about the second round pick, the Rosengarten from Washington, and how he's a little bit of the linchpin because late second round pick, they've done what they had Orlando Brown. They picked late, who had a bad combine, but in this kid is, if they get a starting right tackle with a late second round pick who can slap around the first 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, be a serviceable player by the end of the year, and look like a starter by the end of the year, and they do that with that pick and they solidify that position, it justifies not giving Moses the money, not giving Zeitler the money. They need to figure out the guards. There's no question about that. But look, you hope you pick 32nd, right? To your point, the year that they lost that game with Lee Evans, they got to pick 30th instead of 32nd, right? Or 31st had they lost to the Giants that year. But they picking late, it's more of a crapshoot, and they've done well. They've done well in these spots, and they've picked for an area of need, and I wasn't the guy complaining about Kyle Hamilton 2 years ago. That were other people. They just signed a safety for a lot of money, and Marcus Williams, and they went out and picked the safety with the first pick, and we're like, why? Well, now, Kyle Hamilton looks like he's going to the Hall of Fame. So,
is that going to be? Does that put a fire in Humphrey's ass a little bit?
Well, I think for him and for Stanley, who have underproduced per their cap number for a year or two, both injury related. One thing you asked me what I learned about being in a locker room. I learned that these guys really hurt. It hurts them. It F's with their head, psychologically, injuries, whether I'm ever going to be back, whether I'm ever going to be able to do what I used to do, all of that for any of these guys, for John Means and Kyle Bradish this week Bradish trying to keep his arm on and Means trying to get back whatever he had 2 years ago before the surgery. I remember seeing Rob Burnett's first injury, and Rob was my first friend with the Ravens, and he got injured. He was on crutches and out. And I remember coming to his locker and seeing him doped up on whatever they were giving him to kill the pain, and seeing his countenance change a little bit and seeing the fire in him. And then he went out and won a Super Bowl 3 years later. You know what I mean? So for all of these guys, you ask how you ask a question in a locker room like that. It's relationship based, right? When it's done the right way, when it's done the Chad Steele way, you have no relationship. And therefore you're a jackass in the corner, and you're pig vomit, and you're rat vermin, and you're there to get them and screw them and make up their words. And just a bunch of bullshit, stuff that you've known me 50 years of my life. It's not who I am. Everybody that knows me knows that's not who I am or the way I've conducted any of my life or business since I stood up and had a 15-year-old pregnant girlfriend and I took care of my son. I take care of things. You know what I mean? I finish what I start. So what's happened to me professionally, this cancelization of me, it hasn't really worked. I'm on your podcast. That there's nowhere in town I walk where people don't come up to me, but they do ask me, are you getting your press pass back with Rubenstein? I don't know. Ask him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I made the movie for him and his people too, to say, who am I? This is who I am. And I told Rubenstein's guy on opening day, I said, I did a walkout 18 years ago. When you go look at it, it was all about getting you. It was all about getting rid of him and having you so we could live life normally again. I'm not your enemy. I'm not the enemy of the Orioles. I'm not the enemy of the Ravens. I'm not the enemy of Chad Steele or Greg Bader or TJ Brightman. And I'll stand defiant about that as long as I'm fogging the glass and doing what I do and having sponsors support what I do. But I did find that the documentary needed to be made to set the record straight for businesses that do business with me as to what Wise Markets is buying, what Royal Farms is buying, what the next client of mine, the next sponsor of mine that helps me feed my family is buying when they're buying Nasty Nestor or Baltimore Positive. They're getting a grown-up, serious, high-integrity operation. You know what I mean? That's got a long history, and that's what I want them to know about me.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've been listening. Now, don't get me wrong. I haven't listened to sports in a while, and yes, I was one of them. I'm still one of the guys that, after the London thing, there was a time I couldn't tell you I couldn't name 15 players. I mean, from '96 when the Ravens came, I was just one hardcore. I'll put it to you.
So you don't watch it all anymore, no?
Well, I did this year, and the only reason I really watched as much football as I did is because Flacco came back in. When Flacco came back in, I watched a lot of Cleveland.
You're a Flacco guy, huh?
I wanted Flacco to come in here and whoop the Ravens, but unfortunately I don't know what happened to him. They played.
Why are you mad at the Ravens? So you root against the Ravens?
Yeah, well, I
don't meet a lot of people that openly tell me, I had a lot of knee 7 years ago and Trump this and Trump, I get all that. But I figured most of the people came back. Most. And if there still aren't, that's cool too. I mean, hey, look, dude, they've treated me way worse than they've treated you. Trust me. They've treated me like garbage, spread lies throughout the league that I'm not a real media member, that I'm not worthy of being a media member. So, I haven't put on a piece of Ravens gear since my wife and I were thrown out of the seats that I paid for 26 years. So I don't have an axe to grind. They've tried to put me out of business. They've tried to end my career. They tried to wreck my credibility. There's no, and they did it on purpose and with malice. So I hear you. So if you don't root for the Ravens, I'll give you a million reasons not to root for the Ravens. 600 million that they're getting free money from the states. There's a lot of questions that really should be asked that John Stedman would want me to ask on his behalf.
Yeah. A lot of things when you talk about, because I'm going to give you before you got to go, because you got to go pick your wife up.
I have to leave at 7:40. I have 12 minutes. Make it good. Let's go. Play This Is Your Life.
But when we talk about empty seats and everything, back in the old days, that's really the only way, unless you got it on TV. It was really an experience. But, now, everybody's putting so much money into their man caves and home and they got TVs. The first time I got the NFL Network, I had 3 TVs in front of me to one day. Just any way I could hook them up just to have them around. So,
dude, you don't have to tell you or me how much we love football, right? Like you love football. You've loved it your whole life. You loved it enough to come out to the barn. I loved it enough to build my entire life, my entire schedule. I missed friends' weddings for football games, right? I built my whole life around it all of these years, and it's so disrespected by the people that are involved in it. They're disgusting. They're disgusting.
But when when you see this documentary, you're going to see that, you have done more for charities around there. Ed Block was a big one back in the day. You've done a lot for charities. You've done, you would set up trips every away game. You would have either a bus trip or you have people flying out all over the country to represent the Ravens. And that was
when nobody else was doing it, by the way. I was the only one doing it. Yeah. Me and John Corsi. JC.
Yeah, so it's kind of it just the London thing. The London thing pissed me off, and I can tell you that this year I actually watched some Ravens games. I watched the playoffs. And I slipped in and watched a little bit.
But you're rooting against them, literally, yeah.
Like when Flacco was there, when Flacco was going to play. To me, it's neither nor.
Why do you love Joe, or what is it about Joe?
Because he he just shuts up and plays. And he plays and he tries to do his best. And you can see everybody always talked about, he ain't trying to do this. He's not trying to do that. And I seen it. I seen a guy that no matter how big the situation was, he was the same way at the biggest moments and the lowest moments. He was the same way. He was very professional. And I did think that I thought he zoned out once he started having all the kids and the kids were all there. I think at the end, to me, it seemed like I thought he was zoning out because now maybe I'm good. I got my money and now maybe I want to go and be with my family.
Joe, I love that you love Joe because Joe's my favorite all time. I've been behind the curtain all of these years, right? I'm the Wizard of Oz, right? I've met them all in social circles, behind the scenes, times of victories, times of losses, everybody for my lifetime. Joe's my favorite.
Right,
and if you ask me why, I wrote a book, right? You can read chapters on it. I wrote a letter to him. And I don't, if I text him right now, he would, when I reach to Joe is when somebody's got a sick kid and needs a phone call and they're like, can you get a Raven player to do something for me? Joe's batting average is better than Colton Cowser on that stuff. Yeah, that's who Joe is. So Joe's a special guy, always has been from the minute he was drafted. He's an exceptional person. And I'm delighted that this second act that he had in Cleveland shed a spotlight on what a special guy he is. And
I wish he would have. I would have loved to seen him win a Super Bowl. Cleveland's been such a shithole. I mean,
for football, for sure.
For football, you know what I mean. I'm talking football wise. To see them, do that. I don't ever root when there's nobody else in it. You kind of almost root for the AFC person, except for Steelers. You always rooted for the AFC North guys if they were the last ones in it, to kind of reset our thing. But other than that, I think I always thought Joe to be just straightforward, not no bull crap kind of thing. And like I said, I haven't put a Ravens jersey on since then. And it was great. It was the best thing about that day was they got blown out 40-something. Or was something like that. They got blown out that day. And that was the best. That was a good, that was the right medicine. It was a perfect day. All right. So real quick, because I only got you a couple of minutes. All right. So
okay.
Because look, you've been around the world singing music concerts. You've been around the world doing all kind of stuff. You're very into music. You go to a lot of concerts. I mean, you will drive over to Philadelphia on a whim to go see Seal. You're always around Bruce. But
I saw Bruce 12 days ago in Syracuse. I was in New York quietly on Saturday seeing the Black Crowes. I don't post when I go a lot of places because I just, so I put my phone down when I'm in New York City. I'm eating food and I take selfies and pictures, but I'm not like, here I am. I live a whole life like that. I appreciate when I don't. When I go on real vacation, you won't hear. When my wife and I go to Hawaii, I won't be posting about the poi I'm eating until I get home.
All right. So real quick. So who was in all the interviews you've done, who's been your favorite? Who was your favorite one that you've interviewed? Something the one that pops in your mind that's my favorite one.
Well, I mean, I got different eras, right? Because I've been doing this for 32 years. Some of them I have on video. Some of them I have on audio. Some of them are holy grailish and are missing. So one shout out is my executive producer. I'll say this one, but it's not my favorite. I'll give you my favorite in a minute. But it's the one that got away, right? I did this interview with a legendary person that meant a lot to me. Read a lot of his books. I had never met him. We share a birthday, we have the same birthday. John Wooden, the Wizard of Westwood, the greatest coach of all time, who wrote books on how to live your life and how to play basketball that my father, your father, anyone would agree with. John Wooden was a good man by any measurement of men. And he was maybe 90, 92 years old at the time. He was in his maybe 89. He was older. And when I was syndicated, so this is 25 years ago, I went to my producers and I'm like, look, John Wooden does media. He would anybody who would call him, he would just go on their show. He was that kind of guy. He lost his wife and he was in grieving. His wife, Nellie, who was his wife forever. He had been a widower for a decade or two. So he was always home. People call him. He was an older man. He lived in a little humble home, very humble man. So they they said to me, Ness, we got John Wooden coming on your birthday, on our birthday. And I had John Wooden on for 20 minutes. And I don't remember what the hell I said to him, Sammy, but I had him on our birthday, wished him happy birthday. Well, I sang happy birthday to him. We talked basketball. We talked about his philosophies and the pyramid of life. If you've never seen John Wooden's pyramid of self-actuality, Google the Wooden pyramid. It's a good life building block of how to live your life. So he did this piece with me, and the tape's missing. I've never heard it. I've never seen it. I know it was great because I was part of it. So John Wooden was the guest. How could it not be great? Right. But it never was found. And the man who was the producer of the show went on to become a cop in Chicago. He lost his life about 10 days ago. And but he tried so hard to unearth that interview, and we couldn't find it, and it disappeared. So that was like one that I would give you, because you can't do much better than October 14th with John Wooden on your birthday, you know. But I did a piece that you can watch that I don't know why it titillated me, but it did in some sort of weird way. I mean, I've done all sorts of weird interviews and done all sorts of crazy stuff, but I was at the Super Bowl in Houston in 2000 and whenever it was, 17, like that. My wife had just gotten better, 17, 16, 17. And I was in Houston, and I'm doing the show, and they said to me, Mary Lou Retton is coming by today. Do you want her on the show? And I'm like, yeah, I want Mary Lou Retton on the show. And she was pimping Cold Stone ice cream. And her handler had a cooler, and I had a cowboy hat on. And Mary Lou's, 4'9". She's a little thing, And she sat down and she did these all day. She was doing 30 of them, for the day. She was there 7 hours. And she came by kind of early on and started flirting with me before she came by. She's like, I'm coming to do you later. 'Cause she has that West Virginia accent, And I'm like, I said, I'm ready for you. When you come by, this is going to be better than the Wheaties box. I was like giving her shit, She sat down and we did all of 8 or 9 minutes. And it was just like one of the most fun. I had 8 ice cream and interviewed Mary Lou Retton, and she flirted with me for 10 minutes because we kind of hit it off. We kind of had like a thing, like we were having fun. And I was just talking to her about being in Joe Elliott's house up on the 2nd floor in Backstreet. It involves the whole Elliott family. Elliott's versus the Tudors. The Elliott's would have beaten you guys up because they were older and crazier. But Joe Elliott, Pete Elliott, Marky Elliott, Miss Edie, and Mr. Pete. I watched all the '84 Olympics up in their 2nd bedroom upstairs. They had a television, cable TV. They had a little bit of a bigger TV, and I watched the Olympics up there. And Mary Lou Retton did my show, and she was in failing health earlier this year. But I'm just giving you that because it was one of my favorites. But I mean, I got a million favorite interviews, dude. Go watch my Heinz Ward interview. You hate the Steelers, you'll like that.
Yeah, well, you just did Rick Emmett not too long ago. I watched.
Oh, dude, I love that one. Oh, wasn't that fun?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I had no idea how great he was going to be. He was great.
I mean, he was good, and he wasn't. Maybe 3-4 years ago, he was down here with his just
Rams Head. I never saw one of those Rams Head shows. He's promised to go to a baseball game with me. If I'm ever in Toronto, he gave me his number and told me, I'll go to a baseball game with you. And I'm like, I told Luke, get your passport. We're going to Toronto. See, we're going to look for Geddy Lee too. But the Rick Emmett thing happened, honestly, because look, I goof out on social media and we have a good time, and my beliefs and your beliefs and who we are and where we grew up, like all that. But I just put fun stuff out sometimes. And one day last summer, I put a status out. And I literally just meant this from the heart. I was just thinking about songs. I'm like, what's the greatest song ever written? Put a song in here that I can add to my playlist that you think is the greatest song ever written. And I probably had 200 people put songs in there. And it was wonderful because it opened, like I started a playlist and I started listening to them. And a woman on the timeline, I don't even know who it was because I don't know who all the people that, I had to explain that to my wife and family. I don't know all these people. I don't, and I like to know. Some of them I know. But a woman I didn't know put on there, Triumph Magic Power. And I shower at 4 a.m. very loudly. I crank my music up. My wife, is way away from me in the house we live in. And I get a little disco vibe going. I put music on when I shower and shave in the morning. That's why I miss spots, because I have the disco lights on. But I played that song and I was in the shower and I'm like, Man, what a great song. Got the magic power from the radio. She turns the radio on. I'm thinking, I've been in the radio. It's like Spirit of Radio with Rush. You know what I mean? Begin the day with a friendly voice, a companion unobtrusive. Plays that song. That's so, right. So, like, I listened to that song and I said, you know what? That's a great song. And, like, that's a great song, and I'm so glad I put that status up. So I get inspired by people giving me songs, music, ideas. I borrow them, steal them, bring them together, and then throw them out in the Baltimore Positive. And I hope that people like you find that Rick Emmett. I don't know who I'm doing the Rick Emmett thing for, but 4 months later, I find that it was for you. And God bless you, Sam. I appreciate it, man. I really do.
I know you got to roll. There's a couple guys here. Yes, you're kind of like best friends with John Allen from Child's Play. Somebody asked, "Did you like Kicks and Child's Play?" Like, yeah, I think you do.
I didn't know about the Triumph thing with Kicks. I would have asked. I'll ask Emmett that after the second hot dog at Skydome.
You got it.
I'll ask him that.
Nestor's got to go. He's got to pick his wife up from the airport.
That is true.
Like I said, I appreciate him coming on. We were going to stick around for about an hour, but I'm going to stick around.
Sam, I appreciate you having me, and I'm sorry I had to bug out on you here. Orioles are just scored another run, though, so they're up 3-1, so that's good news for you. I'll be listening in the car.
We can maybe a couple months down the road, when it gets cold out, we're not doing too much. Maybe I actually come on, then we can finish talking and bullshit.
What we really need to do is go catch some fish, and we need to eat some fish, and then that would be the way to do this. I had that snakehead thing with you. I really want to do it, and we had a plan to do it. I was all set. You got COVID, dude.
There's snakehead right there.
Do they taste good or not? Like, there's a real question about this.
Yes, they taste really good. I've called that one too.
Do you pan fry them? What do you do with these?
The snakehead, I'll actually just straight up, I will straight up just put butter and Old Bay, put it in a cast iron skillet, just put some butter in it, let it cook in the butter on both sides till you see it nice and white, and then make sure you got some Old Bay on it. Tastes fine. Tastes perfect. Tastes
fishy? What does it taste like?
No, don't taste fishy. A little firm. No, you'd be surprised. Make sure you get the bloodline out of it. And it's just, no, man, it's a delicacy like in Indonesia or something like that. That's where they come from. They were introduced here back in Crofton a long time ago. So
you and I will meet over at the Bill Burton Bridge, which has special significance to me. Bill Burton Bridge in Cambridge, right? We go across where Ocean Odyssey is there, the little fishing pier. I'll meet you over there. You'll put me in the water over there. And was it Denton? Is that where you guys? You Denton?
Yeah,
404?
Right on 404, man.
Yeah. All right, dude. I'm there for you. I appreciate you, and I'm sorry I had to exit early. Thanks for anybody that came in to say hello to me. Please go watch the documentary. Thanks for all your support. I really mean it. And Sammy and I have been at it 50 years now. Look at that, you and me.
You're a young man. I'm 2 years older than you, buddy. I'm 57, and I'm better looking, but that's okay. I'm gray. The gray
because you're left-handed.
Very, very distinctive. Distinguished.
I have my filter on that makes me look younger. So
you're definitely skinnier. I got a nice beer belly here, buddy.
Dude, it's the hot yoga. I blew my back out, and once you blow your back out, you got to get to Planet Fitness and get work and get your got to strengthen the psoas. I do too much sitting. You know what I mean? You got to strengthen the psoas. You got to do it. Hi, how are you?
Fine. How are you?
All right. What are you putting on your snakehead?
She don't eat fish. She won't touch it.
That's more for us.
She only eats fish and tuna fish.
No, I
in a can. Not. Get out of here. She'll eat tuna fish in a can, dude.
I don't eat tuna fish in a can. Oh my God. Nothing worse. That's the mayonnaise issue you mentioned earlier that I would never touch. I've never had tuna fish in a can. I've never had tuna fish with mayonnaise. I've never had tuna fish on a sandwich, but I love me some black and ahi tuna.
Yep.
Or even rare, like seared rare on sushi. I'm all about that. So
you blacken some snakehead, you'll be golden.
All right, dude. I gotta go. I'm going to State Fair and getting some salmon is what I'm gonna do from fish from Alaska or something like that. I don't know. Hey man, I love that you asked me on, and I'm really appreciative. And thanks for having me. It means a lot to me. Thanks, man. Sorry I had to run early. See you, man.
All right. Well, I'm gonna stay on. I'm gonna go on and yeah, 21090s on here. Yeah. Next, we need to get back to the O's World Series. Yeah, that'd be cool. Rashawn Hunt. Hey, what's up, Rashawn? Very cool, Sam. Thank you. Nicely done. Yeah, we were going to stay on. He was going to stay on a little bit longer, but his wife is coming home from visiting her family in Savannah. So she's on her way back, and her plane pretty much is landing now. So he's got to run and go and pick her up. So other than that, I might chill here just for a little bit and hang out. Last week, everybody got a nice, as we can see, got a nice, Lori got to eat her crabs last week. I was supposed to be commercial crabbing tomorrow. And unfortunately, she's going out, but she's leaving very early because she has to do some, she's got an eye doctor or something like that. So she's not going to be out there all day. And Rashawn, they just got done having their snakehead tournament, and looks like Matt Palm won. I mean, he won like close to $1,000, like $1,000. He had big fish, and won the tournament. He's the only one that was catching. Yeah, Nestor's like best friends with John Allen from Child's Play. So maybe if I can get these guys from 21090 to come on, we can do a live stream and we'll do a whole thing on. We can do it on Kicks and we can do it on Child's Play. And maybe we'll get Nestor to grab John and bring him on. And I like to do so. I don't mind talking some local music. Now, just a reminder: next Tuesday, I'm going to have Lenny Rudow on from Fish Talk Magazine. So we're going to talk a little bit more about Lenny and his whole coming up. Because of me, if you're into fishing and you're on the internet, is Lenny Rudow kind of that face of the Chesapeake Bay? Am I, you know what I mean? When it comes to, teaching, trying to help people to learn how to fish, whether you're new, you've been there a while, to help you, find your way when it comes to fishing. So, and if you need a new boat, obviously, but he's going to come on next week, which is really good. We're going to have Rashawn Hunt, Michael Sartino. You missed him, man. He just rolled out. Or Sartino's on here. He had to leave her. We only had about 40 minutes with him because he had to roll and pick his wife up from the airport. But Mike Sortino stopping in. That's kind of cool. I appreciate everybody stopping by. Like I said, right now I'm just kind of gonna chill out. I mean, he's done some, I'm gonna put some pictures up of him. Some of the people that he's interviewed. I mean, obviously he's interviewed Cal Ripken. He's interviewed, there's Cheap Trick. Brooks. Old picture here, him and Eddie Van Halen. Him, Ed Reed. Who is that? What, I got that picture there. Oh, there he goes. He had Rick Emmett. There's Rick Emmett. He did an interview with Rick Emmett not too long ago. So if you want to go to his on YouTube, it's called WNST. Let me get that and put that in the chat. WNST. Let me go here real quick and let me put his let me put him in the chat. And if you want to check him, you want to listen to sports talk, he does a lot of interviews. He does get a little political with some stuff. He'll get political, talk political stuff and on and off, but he had John Allen on not too long ago. He's had Rick Emmett on. He's actually looking for D. Snyder. He'd like to get D. Snyder on. Hey, George, what's going on? So I just put the link to WNST if you want to listen about sports, the local sports, the Ravens, Orioles. He might talk a little hockey, Capitals hockey for some reason, but he has Luke go in. He does a lot of the stuff on the inside, and but with the draft, I know the draft was last weekend. Right, the draft was last weekend. I usually watch it and keep an eye on it, but I couldn't tell you who they drafted. I kind of don't watch the Ravens too much anymore. But the Orioles are, I don't know if are they winning? I think they were winning. But there's Rick Emmett. There's Ed Reed. He was there doing Ed Reed. So he's this young man is he's been around. He's gotten a chance to meet some pretty cool people from oh shit, let me take that off again. He's got to meet some pretty cool people. He's got to interview some cool people. If you watch the documentary that I have pinned at the beginning, that's his what he just put out. What he just put that out, and it kind of gives him his whole history. We grew up in the same neighborhood, went to school together, but we kind of were in two different crowds. I was a kind of, I wouldn't say we were troublemakers, but there's my mom. Lori Tudor. You're a little biased, I would say. Little biased. But yeah, he's got a good. I listen to it once in a while. I don't listen too much sports anymore because I don't get into it. But the Orioles has been kind of exciting to watch the last I think last year, and I guess towards the end of the year before 2022, the end of 2022, and then 2000 last year was actually, they pooped out in the first round of the playoffs, but they look like they're doing really good right now. There you go, Mark Sortino's 4-1 Orioles. They're rocking, man. It was a long game. I watched some of the game from yesterday, but yeah, it's been kind of fun watching them again. It's actually worth watching them a little bit. They've sucked for so long, 'cause I think since the last time in 2012 was when the Orioles were kind of relevant. And then once all the sports got political and stuff, we for me and my wife every Sunday, I might have went to one game a year, but every Sunday, and my wife is upset about it, but every Sunday, if we weren't over one of our friends' house, what we would do, my wife would make enough freaking food for 15 people. We would have wings, we would have a veggie tray, a pepper tray. I mean, we would have all this spread every Sunday to watch football. We would sit and we would watch football. We would watch the Ravens play. I was hard. I never, ever missed one Ravens game. That London thing happened. I never watched. Now, Sundays, I go fishing. This year, I watched a little bit. When Flacco came back in, I watched a lot of the Cleveland games because I was rooting for Flacco. I wanted so bad for Flacco to come in here and beat the Ravens. I can't tell you, but then crap. They just crapped all over themselves in Texas. Yeah, Texas. They were playing Houston, and so I did watch the playoffs last year, but that's pretty much. I won't do it. I won't waste my time too much anymore. My Sundays will be for going out. That's striper time. That's when the stripers get shallow. I love ain't nothing like the fall when it's cold. You got to dress a little warm, but you don't have to get all bundled up. Yeah, and the best crabs. Well, usually when that happens on Sundays, the crabbing season, because I usually go at the end of October and in November is when I really kind of start doing my shallow water striper fishing. I like doing the stripers, that time shallow, throwing top water in, finding the for me, it's main points, rocky points, structure, um, like that. That's kind of the way I like to fish that time of year. And then once you start getting deeper into the bay, I don't go in the bay much. The only time I really spend in salt water is when I'm crabbing. Most of the time, I'm a freshwater fisherman. Can you switch this out from a water to a beer, please? Thank you, my love. That's my woman. So what's going on? What's everybody doing? I'm sitting here. I'm gonna stay on for a little bit. Like I said, I think it was he was nice enough to come on. Again, actually I got Rashawn coming on. Here, let me look at my calendar real quick. I actually got a freaking calendar. So next Tuesday night, we're going to have Lenny Rudow on from Fish Talk Magazine. The 14th, we're going to have Rashawn Hunt on. He's going to come on and he's going to not only talk about the past winners from this weekend from Matt Palm and how the fishing went and everything. But he's going to talk about the upcoming that's going to be coming up there. It's going to be at a Mariner Point in Joppatown. And then after that, we have a gentleman called, his name's Matt. I think we're going to be on location. I think we're going to go down here to the Denton Pub. You can come sit with me. Huh? You can move this out of the way. I don't have the microphone plugged in.
I'm good.
His name's Matt. He is from the Chop Tank River Keeper. He's a Chop Tank River Keeper. So the irony, wearing my hat, a Yankee fan, because I'm from New York, wearing an Orioles shirt. Those do have a good team. Yeah, well, look, let me tell you what, if you like kayak fishing, Colin does go up to New York and he will fish for they up there because they're weird in New York, call them fluke. Here we call them flounder, because they're a little goofy from New York. When you start getting up there, they're kind of kooky up there. You know what I mean? They're kooky people up there. But yeah, the Orioles, won yesterday, and I think they're winning 4-1 now. It's what my buddy Mike's telling me, that they're winning 4-1. Well, let me know what's the inning, what inning they in. You could just put it on. So me and the wife, see my beautiful. Let me turn the camera on you. Why? Why? You'll brighten up the place. They get a look at my face. Yeah, but tomorrow, guess what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to be making a fence, and I'm going to use a nail gun for the first time. I've never used a nail gun before. I tried screwing that fence thing in there. I was so ticked off yesterday, and it was hot. Man, it was hot yesterday.
The dogs were going bananas.
Yeah, and plus, like, my dogs were driving me bananas, driving me crazy yesterday. But I got to make a fence tomorrow. I'd rather have been commercial crabbing tomorrow, but unfortunately, I can't. I just got her new shirt. I just got her new shirt, bottom of the 5th. I appreciate you stopping by, Mike. We got like 7 people in here. Like I said, a lot of them are from my Facebook page. Yeah, so Nestor's been, he's been. We've known each other. We were little, man. We were little. We were little growing up in this little neighborhood, right around from Mike Sartino. He's another Eastwood boy. We're from Colgate. We had this little neighborhood, bunch of cool kids. And the best thing about Facebook is that a lot of these kids that a lot of people we grew up with in that neighborhood, we actually got to we can still talk to and hang out with. We've lost a lot of people, but still get to see them. It's kind of cool, don't you think?
Yeah.
Get to see how old and gray we're getting, and some of us are getting fat and ugly. Some of them are getting, look the same.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm the fat and ugly one. I got. You got to. Hey, look. You married me. You got to look at this face. I know it's wonderful to wake up to.
It is.
It is. She's drinking. You ain't got to butter me up. You ain't got no crabs tonight.
Oh man. Well,
Hopefully, man, with this weather, we won't be too long. We'll be out crabbing. Hopefully, if this weather stays. Hey, Scott, I was gonna what the hell was I gonna did you try to contact Bay Life? I know Bay Life shirt. I know they said that yeah, I always check his hat out, man. Colin's a cool dude. I mean, look, man, I went out with him on Valentine's Day, and while I left my wife here to go fishing with Colin, and then he bought her a heart full of chocolates.
And you felt bad.
I didn't feel bad.
Yes, you did.
I got you flowers on the card.
Yeah, after you felt bad.
No, I signed it after I felt bad.
Oh,
I didn't
no,
sign.
that's right. Everybody. Oh, yeah.
I didn't sign it. You may put the mic on for you?
No, I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah.
It take me 2 seconds. All I can do is plug it in. Huh? I'll plug it in. Take 2 seconds. Man crush. But Scott, Bay Life is on. I just did a video with them, and if you look at the bottom of my video, I put their link in there. They like working with nonprofits and stuff. And there was something you put on there today. God darn it, I forgot because I was gonna. Oh, you know what I was gonna do if I had an hour with Nestor, that's what I was gonna do. I was gonna text you and see if you wanted to come on before I brought him on to talk about what's going on and everything. But he had such a short window that I didn't ask. But maybe next week, if you want, Scott, that would be awesome. If you want to come on, just text me. You or Colin can text me, and I'm going on with Lenny Rudell next week. So if you want to come on for a minute or two, like right before I bring him on, I'm sure Lenny wouldn't mind. And I'll send you the link, and you can come on, and then you can talk about what's going on, what you got set up, you can promote whatever you got going on, if that's all right with you. And we'll do that. My buddy Dennis got a new express boat.
Oh, an express.
It's a 2016. It's all electric. Them things are stupid expensive. It's
though, dude.
it's like it's an electric it's an electric boat, And man, man, them things are like 10 grand. I mean, like a regular little boat, the motor alone, well,
Oh,
the motor alone could be worth $10,000 to $15,000.
Oh.
Just a motor. And there he goes like 5 mile an hour. Maybe you might get one that gets you good up to about 7 mile an hour for an electric motor. But he fishes nothing but basically lock raven. He fishes a lot of lock raven everything. So that's cool. But yeah, man, if you want Scott, I'll send you the link before, and you can come up and promote whatever. I'm sure Lenny won't care if we take a minute or so to talk and definitely promote what you got going on. I think that'll be really cool. I gotta watch my beer. I'm gonna spill it on this. I know it.
You are clumsy.
I am clumsy.
A little bit.
I am clumsy. I gotta move that away. But if you want to see the documentary of him, he's been in the Baltimore sports for 30 some years, and he started as a music critic. His first job out of high school, I think he worked for an old newspaper here in Maryland called the News American. That's where he started. I think Stedman was his guy that worked with him. You can see it in the documentary. So the Stedman was on, and then he went into being working on radio, talk radio, drive radio, and then he went in and he bought. See, we didn't get in all this because we could have stayed on and really talked. Talk on what's that? Please text me day and time. It'll be next. Don't put your number on the damn. How do I get rid of that? Hold on. Don't put your number on there. No, what's wrong? You crazy? Unless you got it. Unless everybody else has your number. Yeah, I think I got your number. If not, I'll give it to Colin. Colin will definitely send it over to you. The day will be next Tuesday at 7 p.m. I'm going live every Tuesday night. I thought about going live out.
Tomorrow.
No.
What?
No. I was going to go live tomorrow, but I'm talking about taking all my equipment and taking it down to the crab shack.
Where's that at?
On my back porch.
Oh.
Where's that
I thought
at?
you meant at the place.
What's wrong with you? Yeah, I thought about going out. I think once it gets warmer out, I think I'm gonna start bringing this equipment outside and doing it out. Normally Tuesdays we're coming back from crabbing, so we might not.
Yeah.
So we might not even start the live until after we come back from crabbing, or we might do our lives. Might be when we're crabbing, just do the lives while we're crabbing, ask questions, let people talk. While I drive the boat, and you pick trap. You pick the traps up. I know that, but yeah. So Nestor's been doing that. He's talk radio. He's what happened is that he bought a radio station 1570 AM, but he was only buying it like month to month. And then all of a sudden somebody came on there and said that they were selling out from underneath of them. And then that place, the people that bought it then basically didn't do well. So they ended up selling it. He got some investors and he bought 1570. The only thing about his radio station, you'll be better off just watching it on YouTube. You can go 1570 AM and you can get it on the internet as an app, and you should be able to listen on that. But most of it is just him now. The way I can figure it out is that when his wife got sick, she was almost lost her life to cancer, and but she's made it through. She spent a couple years, and I think that he was spending so much time, with her, being with her, supporting her and being with her all the time that I think he went with nobody and he was the only voice. So now he does all the interviews and everything on YouTube. So I put the link, I put the link to his YouTube channel in there so you can check it out. He talks Baltimore sports, Ravens, Ravens and Orioles and Preakness. He was just talking about Preakness, and he'll bring some music. He's had John Allen on there from Child's Play and all that stuff. So I think I'm gonna it's 8 o'clock. That's actually, I was 1 o'clock. Usually I'm on here about 2 hours. But
Hi Joy. Hi Lisa.
Huh? I don't see them. I do not see them. Are they leaving messages?
It's just all coming up on the thing.
How's that? That's weird. Where are you watching it on? How come I don't see?
On
Oh, it just says they're watching.
Yeah, now it just popped up. Yeah, they're watching. They just popped
Well,
up.
how do you see that? I don't see who's actually
I have
watching.
no
Are you
idea.
on Facebook? Yeah, you're on. You must be on Facebook.
Yeah, maybe.
That's why you're on Facebook. Okay, that was weird. I was like, how the hell you know somebody? I can't
Well,
even.
it was
See.
on both, but
Yeah. So
switched back and
yeah.
forth,
Okay, they're on
so,
Facebook. Oh, they're just watching from down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought about. So I'm thinking that I'd like to do. We want to do another Baltimore kind of thing. And that is, I like to do a music thing, and that's bringing some old school Child's Play. I think I'm going to talk to. I talked to Rob the other day. Rob Michaels. He was in. You know, my buddy, my good buddy Nort. Him and Tom Maxwell. Tom Maxwell is the last band he was in was Hell Yeah. That's the big with Vinnie Paul and guys from Mudvayne and stuff like that. So he was in that band. Tom Maxwell, and he's a Baltimore guy, but he was in a band called Have Mercy with my buddy Nort, Rob Michaels, Nick Ellington, and Lonnie Fletcher. I was going to ask Lonnie if he wants to come on, talk to the guys from Have Mercy on my other YouTube channel. Now, I probably won't do it on Outdoors in Maryland, but I'll probably do it on my Sam Tudor Facebook, but do it on the Headbangers and Hard Rock Television YouTube channel and talk to these guys about their music, what they went through. I know they toured. They got to tour with Megadeth and King Diamond, and they got to open up for these guys. So that's kind of cool. And these guys are still playing music. I know Lonnie is. He's in another state somewhere. Nort, I know he's still playing. Rob, I don't know if Rob's still playing music or not, but I don't know. I know I'm not.
We don't really play music, but
Yeah, I usually play. I don't play music on the Outdoors of Maryland one. That's all about fishing.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about all things Chesapeake, right? All things Chesapeake. But yeah, Nestor's has been cool. I haven't seen him since the barn. Me and you. That was the last time me and you seen him was at the barn when he had his live shows. Yeah, live shows. I got a Rod Woodson from the Ravens. Rod Woodson from the Ravens right here. Went to the barn, and that's Rod Woodson's signature right there. It's kind of upside down. From the Steelers and the Ravens, that's Rod Woodson right there.
Yeah.
I got
a little bit of a glow.
I got Ray Lewis autographs. I got a couple.
What's that up there?
That one's nothing. That's just that's one of them mass produced ones with fake names and everything. But this football here, is this the one?
I don't know.
No, that's not the one. That's the one. No, that's the one. The other one's down there. That's the old logo too. And this is the original logo.
Oh, okay, yeah. When he first came out.
This is the original logo.
96 or 97?
Yeah. The Ravens original logo right there.
Yeah.
That was on their helmets before they changed it.
Yep.
I was a big Ravens fan.
We all were.
And then when politics got into it, man, we go and we watch sports because a lot of us deal with crap. That's what fishing does for me too. Going out fishing, it's kind of that getaway. So when you get to hang with your wife and once on a Sunday, man, we got a nice big spread. We just want to watch football. Yeah. And then it ended up being politics. And then I'm just like, screw this.
This year,
no, we're not.
Yes.
No, you can watch it all you want. I'll be fishing.
Watch it too. I'm going to force you.
You ain't forcing me. There's only one thing you can force on me, and I'll let you.
We like the spread.
Hey, easy. It's a family show.
No, I said the food spread, you weirdo.
Oh, you mean the food spread? Okay. Woo, man. This was about to take a bad turn.
Bad turn. You're so funny.
But you know what? We're going to roll. We're going to chill out and see. I wish you put her face more in there.
Unless you have questions.
Nah, I don't think anybody's a question. I think everybody's just hanging out. I appreciate everybody just hanging out. But Scott, I'll definitely I think you got my number. Let Colin send it to me if I don't have your number. And then yeah. This is the first time my wife loves this picture. This is the picture. This is the picture when my wife got hooked on crabs. This was the first time ever going crabbing she's ever crabbed, and these are the crabs she caught. Look at this.
That is awful.
Oh, there
Beautiful crabs, though.
there went my camera. Somebody just moved it.
Oh.
There it is. Oh, there's the
Thank you.
look at that big ass crab she caught. She was hooked ever since. I wish I knew what the date that was.
It had to be like 2000. I'm gonna say 2008.
Think so?
Yes, because we moved in with my mom
Yeah, because we just sold our
in
house.
2008. Yeah, and we moved here 2009 because we lived there almost a year.
I thought we lived there longer than that.
No.
Yeah, we so we sold our house because we in the Colgate, we I wish I'd had to talk to him because he'd get a kick out of it. So we had this little tiny store in our neighborhood called Sanino's, best cheesesteak subs. The best
Oh.
subs, man. When my dad said, "All right, we're going up to get some subs, go up to Sanino's." Oh, it's great. And so we moved right across the street from Sanino's. Somebody's texting me.
Okay, who is?
Will, are you still watching?
What do you say, Will? Or are you still watching?
Well, Will just texted me. Urban Outdoors, Jersey Jones. Are you still watching, buddy? Actually, my thing's off. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
My number is in the feed. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm saying, but you're giving your number to the feed. I mean, not that there's a million people in here or not, but I'll have to go back and look at it. You still. Yeah, but cool guest. We got a good guest next week, and we're always looking for a guest. I'm trying to, I don't know, do some different stuff. I had a whole, I think we could have went. Me and him probably could have talked. We probably could have talked like 2 hours, but it's a good. He seems like a good dude. He's done a lot. He does travel around the world and stuff. He's definitely made a good living doing what he's doing. But his main living is taking care of the Baltimore sports. It's WNST 1570 AM, but you can look at it. I put the link. If you're still there, link is in the chat. The link to his YouTube channel does all the sports talk and everything. So I got you. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, just go to the links in there. You can either go see, if you go to the first link that's linked at the top of the chat, that's tagged or pinned. If you click on that, it'll take you to his channel. But that'll actually take you to the video that he just made and released. It's pretty good. I think there's one criticism I was going to give him a little bit. He did flip through the pictures really quick. As he was going through, I mean, he was really just, the pictures were going a little too fast. I think I wish he could have slowed up just a little bit on some of the pictures, huh? Nestor, remember watching his video he put out, a documentary?
When he did it on there?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But you go and you watch it, he does all kind of interviews with all kind of, guys, but he'll do stuff with local people. But
well, hopefully we'll be able to go crabbing maybe the following weekend.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if it stays in the 80s and 90s.
It's going to stay in the 80s, but
we'll be crabbing soon.
Yeah, I'm hopefully for anniversary weekend.
I ought to go there and show these guys. None of them guys, all them guys down there didn't catch no. My ex-mother-in-law babysat Nestor.
Oh my.
Yeah, Bank Street. But we grew up on I was Winbrook. I grew up on Winbrook. I lived right on the corner.
That's where my friend lives, Winbrook Avenue.
Yeah, that's right. One of our friends are there. She still lives there in Colgate. I used to talk to Miss Patsy, Shonda's mother. She passed away a couple years ago.
Well, Cindy still lives in Winbrook too.
Yeah, Cindy still lives there. I'm just talking about Shonda, Patsy Brewer. Yeah, she was cool. She was a very cool lady to me. In elementary school, I was carrying her daughter's books home. And they
really?
Yeah, there wasn't too many people didn't have too much of a crush on Shonda. Actually, the four of them.
Oh, what's her last name?
Schilling now.
Oh, okay, that's right. I remember you saying.
Yeah,
that.
Sean the
she
Brewer.
was with the baseball
But then it was
players.
it was the four. It was Christine Frito, Cheryl Barrett,
She's blonde, right?
and Chris. Oh my God, why am I? Why am I? Kane, Chrissy Kane.
What are they? The four. What do
Four.
you mean the four were?
Them four were like
Inseparable.
yeah, they were like
Like
always.
best friends.
Yeah, they were ever since they were young,
Oh, okay.
and they were the ones everybody had a crush on them. You know, they were the four girls. I remember walking her home, and then her mom came in, and her mom and dad brought me in, and I freaking they had dinner. I had dinner at their house and all that. I was like in elementary school.
Yeah,
That's cool.
kid.
She was so nice. She was so nice.
You were up to no good anyway.
Hey girl, she's finally saying something. Hey girl, there's Julie.
I know. I've seen her.
Uh-oh.
My Sam up to no good.
Just make sure that
You
the
were
last time.
honoring. Right.
All right. I think I'm going to roll. Everybody, thank you very much for stopping by. That was a pretty cool interview. I wish we had more time. Well, yeah, we might bring them on again where we can maybe something big happens in sports and I'll bring them on and we'll talk some stuff. I'm not really into I don't really watch sports. I wanted to ask him about bass fishing. Why won't he bring bass fishing's a sport, right? You ever been on the water for 8 hours fishing? Tell you what, that wears your damn ass out. I can tell you that. You know, and I'm an old guy. Even when I was younger, that shit used to wear us out.
You are an old guy.
All right, everybody, we're rolling. I'll see you later. Thank you for stopping by. Next week,
Peace out.
7 p.m. Lenny Rudall will be on with me from Fish Talk Magazine. All right, check you later.